I never thought the people I loved the most could turn their backs on me when I needed them the most. But they did. My own family, my parents and my siblings, threw me out of the house when I lost my job and couldn't pay rent. I begged them to give me time, told them I'd find work soon, but they said I was a failure, and dead weight. That day broke something inside me. 5 years later, when I finally rebuilt my life and owned a beautiful house of my own, they showed up at my doorstep, not to apologize but to tell me, "We're taking this house." Tell me honestly, what would you do if your own family betrayed you, and then came back to claim what's yours? Would you forgive them, or would you show them what karma really looks like? 5 years ago, I was at my lowest. I had just lost my job at a marketing firm after the company went through a massive layoff. I was one of the unlucky ones. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal. I was confident I'd find another job soon. But weeks turned into months, and months turned into a nightmare. My savings were drying up, bills were piling in, and despite sending out dozens of applications every week, I couldn't land anything. It was like the universe had pressed pause on my life. At first, my family was supportive, or at least they pretended to be. I was living in my parents' house at the time, helping them with chores, fixing things around, and even cooking sometimes. My mom used to say, "Don't worry, honey, something good will come along soon." My dad, though, wasn't as kind. He was always old school, the kind of man who measured a person's worth by how much money they made. Every time I sat at the table, he'd look at me with that disappointed glare and say, "A man without a job is like a car without gas, useless." I tried not to let it get to me, but over time, the comments got worse. My older brother Tom was doing well for himself, married, 2 kids and a stable career as an engineer. He would come over for dinner and take little jabs at me. "Still job hunting, huh? Maybe you should try being a YouTuber or something. I heard that's what people do when they can't find real jobs." He'd laugh, and my parents would join in. My younger sister, Anna, who was still in college, would just roll her eyes and tell me I was being too sensitive. I felt like I was being humiliated in my own home. Eventually, things reached a boiling point. I remember that night vividly. The rain was pounding outside, and I had just gotten another rejection email. My dad was sitting in his recliner, watching TV, and I asked him if I could borrow some money to cover a few bills and I found something. He turned off the TV, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "You've been sitting in this house for almost a year now. You're not a kid anymore. We've done enough. It's time for you to stand on your own 2 feet. I told him I was trying, but he wouldn't listen. My mom chimed in, saying, "Maybe this will motivate you to try harder." That stung. They weren't just tired, they were done with me. The next morning, I woke up to find my belongings packed up in boxes in the living room. My dad tossed me a small envelope with a 200 inside and said, "That's all we can do for you. You'll thank us one day." I didn't thank them. I walked out of that house feeling more worthless than I ever had. I spent the next few weeks sleeping on my friend Mark's couch. He was the only one who didn't treat me like garbage. He told me, "Don't let them break you, man. This isn't the end, it's just the ugly middle." That line stuck with me. I started doing odd jobs. Delivery driving, freelance writing, anything that could put food in my stomach. It was during one of those freelance gigs that I met Sarah. She was a client looking for help with a marketing campaign for her small startup. I put my heart into that project, working long nights, determined to prove my worth. She loved my work so much that she offered me a full-time position at her company. It wasn't huge, but it was a start. From there, everything slowly started to change. Sarah wasn't just a boss, she became a mentor and eventually a close friend. With her help, I climbed my way back up. I learned how to run digital campaigns, manage clients, and even lead a team. Within 2 years, I became the head of marketing. My salary wasn't just enough to survive, it allowed me to save, invest, and finally breathe again. I even started a side hustle helping small businesses with branding, which took off surprisingly fast. 3 years later, I bought my first home. A beautiful 2-story house with a backyard, a small garden, and the kind of kitchen my mom used to dream about. I stood in that empty living room the day I moved in, and promised myself that I'd never let anyone make me feel small again. For years, I didn't hear from my family. No calls, no messages, nothing. I didn't reach out either. It hurt too much to think about how easily they'd thrown me away. But fate has a twisted sense of humor, because one sunny Saturday morning, as I was sipping coffee on my porch, I saw a familiar car pull up in my driveway. I froze. It was my parents. And behind them, another car. My brothers. They got out, smiling like nothing ever happened. My mom walked up first, arms open for a hug. "Oh honey, it's been so long. Look at you, you look amazing." My dad followed with that same stoic face, though I could see a flicker of something. Was it guilt? Maybe. Tom came last, holding his kid's hand, acting like we were still one big happy family. I was too stunned to react at first. Part of me wanted to slam the door in their faces, but another part, some stubborn remnant of the old me, wanted to hear what they had to say. So I invited them in. My mom gushed over the decor, my dad nodded approvingly at the furniture, and Tom whistled, saying, "Wow, this is a nice place, man. You've done well for yourself." It was awkward. We sat around the table, and I made small talk, waiting for the real reason they were there. Finally, my dad cleared his throat and said, "Son, we need to talk about something important." I braced myself. He continued, "Your mother and I are getting older. The house we live in, well, we're thinking of selling it." "Okay," I said cautiously. "What does that have to do with me?" He looked me dead in the eye and said, "We were hoping you could let us stay here for a while, maybe sign the house over to the family name, just so everyone has a place if things go wrong." I almost laughed. "Sign the house over? Are you serious?" My mom jumped in. "You know this family's been through a lot, and we need to stick together. This house could be our family home." I stared at them in disbelief. "You threw me out when I had nowhere to go. You called me useless. And now you want me to give you my house?" Tom smirked, leaning back. "Come on, man, don't hold grudges. We're family." That word, family, felt poisonous coming from his mouth. I stood up. "You made it clear I wasn't part of this family 5 years ago." My dad's tone turned sharp. "Don't forget where you came from. We raised you, fed you, gave you everything." I felt anger bubbling up inside me, and the second I needed help, you kicked me out. So don't come here acting like you did me a favor. My mom's eyes filled with tears. "Please, we just need your help. Your father's health isn't great, and Tom's having some financial trouble. We thought maybe you'd understand." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "I understand perfectly. You only show up when you need something. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to think about this. If you were in my shoes, what would you do? Would you forgive your family and let them back in, or would you stand your ground and protect what you built?" I want you to pause for a second and comment below what you'd do, because this was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make. I looked at each of them, one by one, and saw nothing but entitlement. They weren't sorry. They just wanted to take what was mine, so I made my decision. "You're not staying here," I said firmly. "And you're definitely not taking this house." My dad's face twisted in anger. "You ungrateful brat. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us." I laughed bitterly. "Repay you? You kicked me out when I was broke. You don't get to claim credit for the person I became after that." Tom stood up, trying to intimidate me. "You really think you're better than us now? You got lucky, that's all." I looked him dead in the eye. "Luck didn't buy this house. Hard work did. Something you clearly wouldn't understand." He clenched his fists, but my dad stopped him. "Let's go," my father growled. "He's not worth it." They stormed out, slamming the door behind them. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. A few days later I got a call, from a lawyer. Apparently, my parents and Tom had filed a claim, saying they were co-owners of my property because I had oozed family support to rebuild my life. It was complete nonsense, but they were trying to scare me into handing over the house. Thankfully I had receipts, bank statements, contracts, proof of every penny I'd earned since the day I left home. I hired a lawyer of my own, and we shut down their claim in less than 2 weeks. The court dismissed it immediately. When I walked out of that courtroom, I felt a weight lift off my chest. I wasn't just free, I was vindicated. A week later, my mom showed up again, alone this time. She was crying. She said, "Please, your father's blood pressure has been high since all this started. Can't we just put this behind us?" I wanted to feel sympathy, I really did. But then she said something that killed that feeling instantly. "If you really loved us, you'd give us the house. We're your family." I took a deep breath and said, "You're right. You are my family. But family doesn't abandon each other. You did. So please, don't ever come here again." I closed the door on her, and this time, I didn't look back. It's been a year since that day. I haven't heard from them since, and honestly I'm at peace. My life is quiet, simple, and finally my own. Sometimes I look at the old family photos in my drawer, and wonder if things could have been different. Maybe if they'd supported me when I was struggling, we'd still be close. But life has a funny way of teaching lessons. Sometimes through pain, sometimes through distance. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: the people who walk away from you when you're at your lowest don't deserve to stand beside you when you rise. Forgiveness is noble, but protecting your peace is necessary. So tell me, was I wrong for refusing to let them back in? Would you have done the same thing? Like this video if you were on my side, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd really love to know what you would have done if your family showed up demanding your house after abandoning you. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you all in the next story.